Someone is talking to you. The words sound fine, they're calm, they're making sense, they're looking you in the eye. You have no specific reason to doubt them, and yet something you cannot name and cannot locate, is quietly telling you that something is off. Not a thought, not a reason, just a low physical signal, like a sound at the edge of hearing. Something in your chest, or your stomach, or the back of your neck. Something that registers before you've consciously processed a single word. Here's what that is. That's not instinct in the mystical sense. That's not a sixth sense or a psychic gift. That's a threat detection system that has been processing social information far longer than conscious thought has existed, and it runs so fast that by the time you're aware of it, the conclusion is already in. Your body is not slower than your mind. On this particular task, it's faster, and the science of why is stranger than the feeling itself. To understand how your body detects deception before your brain catches up, we need to untangle 5 things: what the body is actually measuring when it fires that signal, the research that revealed how this works, and its honest limits. Why conscious lie detection is so surprisingly bad, what your body does that your conscious mind can't replicate, and what you can actually do with this information. Let's go. Here's the number that starts this whole story. Humans are terrible at consciously detecting lies. Across hundreds of studies measuring how accurately people judge whether someone is telling the truth, the average accuracy sits at roughly 54%. That's barely above chance. That's almost coin flip territory. Police officers, judges, trained interrogators, therapists, none of them score meaningfully better than untrained people. The profession doesn't help. The experience doesn't help. The confidence definitely doesn't help. So, here's the puzzle. We evolved in social groups where detecting deception was genuinely important. Cheating, free riding, and betrayal had real consequences. If detection mattered, why is the conscious system so bad at it? The answer, researchers suspect, is that conscious detection was never the primary system. Something else was doing the job first. And that something runs in the body, not the mind. The framework that best explains this comes from neuroscientist Antonio Damasio, whose work in the 1990s produced what he called the somatic marker hypothesis. Damasio's core insight came from studying patients with damage to a specific region of the brain called the ventromedial prefrontal cortex. These patients were, by conventional measures, perfectly intelligent. They could reason, remember, solve problems, and articulate logical arguments. What they couldn't do was make good decisions in complex social situations, and crucially, they couldn't do it even when they knew the right answer intellectually. They would identify the correct choice and then not make it, or make the opposite one, seemingly at random. What they had lost, Damasio argued, was the ability to access somatic markers, bodily signals that flag certain options as dangerous or safe based on prior emotional experience. In a normally functioning system, when you encounter a situation your body has encountered before, including a person or pattern that previously accompanied betrayal or threat, your body generates a signal, a subtle shift in heart rate, skin conductance, stomach tension, muscle tone. That signal arrives in your conscious awareness as a feeling, unease, wrongness, the sense that something is off, before your reasoning mind has assembled the case for why. The body is running pattern recognition on your social environment continuously and quietly, and it flags anomalies faster than language can process them. Somewhere in your ventromedial prefrontal cortex, a very fast, very quiet accountant has already tallied the numbers and filed a report, and only now is your conscious mind finally reading the memo. The research on deception specifically has added detail to this picture. In 2019, researchers Leanne Ten-Brinke, Julia Lee, and Dana Carney published findings in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology showing that people's physiological responses, measured through skin conductance and other body signals, differed when they were watching someone lie versus watching someone tell the truth. The body was registering the difference even when the conscious mind wasn't catching it in explicit judgments. A separate study by Gunderson, Ten-Brinke, and Sokol-Hessner in 2023 found that people with higher interoceptive accuracy, the ability to accurately detect their own internal body signals, like heartbeat, showed enhanced physiological differentiation between liars and truth-tellers. The better you are at reading your own body, the more access you have to the signal the body is generating. This doesn't mean the signal is always right. It means the signal exists, runs before conscious awareness, and carries real information, imperfect information, but information nonetheless. And here's why the system has to work this way. Deception is ancient, and it's not unique to humans. Primates deceive, hiding food, feigning injury, misdirecting rivals. The arms race between deception and detection has been running in social species for millions of years. And in that arms race, the detectors that worked fastest had the advantage. A detection system that required conscious deliberation, let me carefully analyze the 17 microsignals in your face, was always going to be outpaced by a detection system that fired immediately before the deceiver could adjust. So the system that evolved was fast, automatic, and bodily. Not a reasoned judgment. A physical signal. Something that arrived before language could muddy it. The speed is the feature. Conscious analysis is slow, interruptible, and manipulable. A gut signal is none of those things. But here's what conscious analysis does to that signal, and this is where it gets complicated. Here's the uncomfortable truth at the center of this whole topic. Conscious lie detection doesn't just fail to help. In many cases, it actively interferes with the body's signal. When people are told to actively try to detect deception, to consciously look for signs, analyze behavior, watch for tells, their accuracy tends to drop. Not because thinking is useless, because thinking pushes attention toward the wrong things. The conscious mind, when tasked with detecting lies, reaches for the most salient, easily labeled cues. Eye contact, fidgeting, hesitation. And those cues are largely worthless. Decades of research have found that most behavioral cues people confidently associate with lying, avoiding eye contact, touching the face, shifting in the seat, have almost no diagnostic value. They're not reliably more common in liars than in truth-tellers. They're just visually noticeable. The conscious mind grabs what it can see and runs with it, crowding out the quieter bodily signal underneath. This is part of why training people in behavioral lie detection, the kind many law enforcement agencies have used, often doesn't improve accuracy and sometimes makes it worse. You're training people to consciously overwrite the system that was actually working with a set of rules that mostly don't. The body's signal is subtler and harder to access, but it's the signal that carries real information. And accessing it requires something counterintuitive. Less active thinking, not more. Research into interoception, the perception of internal bodily states, has consistently found that people who are better at reading their own internal signals, heartbeat, stomach tension, skin response, make more accurate judgments in complex social situations. The insula, a deep brain region that acts as a hub for interoceptive processing, links visceral body signals directly to the prefrontal cortex and the emotional centers of the brain. Better interoceptive access means more accurate integration of somatic signals into conscious experience. In other words, the path to better lie detection, such as it is, runs through the body, not around it. Somewhere in a professional development seminar, a trainer is explaining which micro-expressions to look for. None of them are in your stomach. Several of them are in your stomach. There's an important limit to put clearly on the table here. None of this means gut feelings are reliable oracles. The body's threat detection system generates false positives. It can flag a nervous truth-teller the same way it flags a smooth liar. It can be biased by familiarity, by anxiety, by prior experience that has nothing to do with the person in front of you. The somatic marker system is not a lie detector. It's a pattern recognition system that flags anomalies relative to your personal history, and your personal history is imperfect. What the research supports is more modest. The body registers something when deception is present, it registers it before conscious awareness does, and people with better access to that bodily signal show modestly improved accuracy. That's real. It's not magic. It's a signal worth attending to, not as a verdict, but as information to hold lightly while you gather more. Step back, and trusting your gut goes from a fuzzy cliche to something with actual structure. Your body is not reacting randomly when it sends that quiet signal about a person or a situation. It is running a fast, continuous, largely unconscious scan of the social environment, pattern matching against a lifetime of prior experience, flagging anomalies in real time, and delivering the result to your conscious mind as a feeling before the reasoning system has processed a single word. The system is old. It predates language. It predates conscious reasoning. It was shaped by millions of years of social species navigating exactly this problem. How do you detect betrayal fast enough to matter? What it isn't is infallible. The signal carries noise. It can be biased by fear, by familiarity, by past experience that maps poorly onto the present. The job of the conscious mind isn't to override the signal. It's to hold it, to notice the feeling, take it seriously as information, and then gather more data before you act. You were never meant to choose between your gut and your head. You were meant to use both. Here's the one thing. The next time you get that quiet, sourceless feeling that something is off, don't override it and don't obey it. Name it. Literally, my body is flagging something here. That one act of naming does something important. It takes the signal out of the background and brings it into conscious attention without collapsing it into a verdict. It keeps the information available without letting it become a conclusion before you have the evidence. Then get curious. Ask more questions. Listen more carefully. Let the conversation continue while you gather more data. Your body will keep running its scan and keep updating the signal. What you're not doing is searching for behavioral tells to confirm or deny the feeling. You're staying open, staying present, and staying connected to what's happening inside you while you observe what's happening outside. Gut instinct isn't the opposite of careful thinking. It's the starting point for it. The body already filed the report. Your job is to read it carefully. And if the idea that your body knows things your conscious mind doesn't quite bothers you, wait until you learn what it does with your own memories. Your body can confirm something happened that never actually did. Why the memories your mind trusts most are sometimes the least accurate. That one's already up.